Oop, I can turn that off.
Hey guys, it's Jared and Mike and Noob and Ninja. We're back finally. It's been quite a bit of time off, but we're back and we're watching the markets kind of fall apart here out of a big CPI print tomorrow. Mike, I'll let you jump into it. You've been more actively trading today than me. How are things going?
Uh, Things are going good. I have a really good noob strategy going where I have my main account that I'm most interested in, which is the Lucid I've been trading. I'm up around $600 today in that. And then I
Nice.
have a dummy account for when I have my urges to trade falling knives and stupid moves, which is a $15 Tradeify eval. And right now I am down 350 in it. So the strategy's working.
Yeah, and to bring it up, just because I'm aware of this, you got that $15 account almost this time last year, actually, because the Tradeify does an advent calendar in the month of December, and quite honestly, their promotions this month are, excuse me, completely less attractive than what they did last year when they first started. So they offered a $100,000 growth account for just $15, and normally it's like over 100. And this year they've been doing like an extra 5% off, an extra 10% off. Nothing that I've shared with the community on our Discord or on our website, because it's just not that advantageous. There's still better deals out there with other firms, including the Lucid Flex account. As well as, if you guys haven't been paying attention, one of the major prop firm trading platforms, Project X, has basically decided they're only going to go back to working with one company. They've had issue after issue. Yesterday, they had a data feed delay issue. So every prop firm, and the great thing is all these prop firms use the same platform. So when one says, "Hey, we're going to remove your negative trades," all the others follow suit because they obviously want to maintain that status quo. So if you had a Project X account, some are being nice where they're letting you keep profits, while others are saying, "No, we're not." You either kind of got an advantage by having the issue, and so we're going to erase your profits, or we're going to erase your losses. So something I always kind of be aware of. I know you, Mike, primarily and only trade with Trade Evade accounts, which is what kind of everyone's gold standard, if you will. So something to kind of be aware of. But yeah, I think getting back to your point, I love the idea for somebody new to have a very strict setup in one account. And if they feel like they are the type of trader that needs the gut feels, the willy-nillys, I want to be in a trade feeling, having another separate account is a great idea. So I think that's a great strategy.
Yeah, and just to follow up on what you said, yes, I've had this account for a year. When it's a $15 eval, it tends to be your blow account. So your risky trade account. So
Your
which I'm
full
doing
port
to
account, right?
your full port account exactly. I am kind of hoping to pass it this month because I don't want to have it for a full year. But I actually just started trading futures a year ago. This is probably the second account I ever bought.
Right.
I bought an Apex account, which I never use them anymore, and then I bought this account. So it's been a year on my journey, which still squarely puts you in the noob category. Unless you've been doing this, I would say. I thought I was an expert in the spring when the market kept going down and I kept passing evals.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not. Just because you pass evals in a pretty predictable market doesn't mean anything. I mean, the people I know who are successful at this have been doing it for over a year at least, and usually 3, 4 or more.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people come in potentially and are looking at Twitter and all of these other traders, and everyone kind of wants to have that level of success so quickly. And it's realistic that it's not going to happen that quickly for you. So, if you think a year isn't enough time, I know a lot of people will say 2 years is probably more adequate of a kind of a target. Um, you really want to just give yourself the time, and everyone's different, to really understand I think what makes you a trader and what a lot of people think is it's my entries and exits. And what I think you would agree with being a noob is it's the emotions and not letting yourself get hijacked. And all of a sudden you're like, hey, I've been really consistent for a month and I'm putting out one contract at a time. And then all of a sudden just one moment you're like, I'm going all in full board here. So, that's definitely something traders need to work on.
Agree 100%. It's not it's not your now. I would say, yeah, it's not like finding the perfect setup and getting in at the perfect entry point and executing trades. It's your emotions. It's being able to not move your stop loss. It's being able to take a bad trade, take a loss, and then walk away. Take a
Mm-hmm.
red day. All these things that it sounds like you should just be able to do if you're going to be trading, but for a noob trader, it's so hard. It's like
Right.
the worst thing in the world is when the market goes up and it missed your, you know, maybe you tried to do a or I'm sorry, maybe you tried to do a bid and just didn't pick you up, and then it starts to scream in that direction, and you FOMO in. It could be where it just wicks your stop loss and then goes the other way. And you were right, but you ended up taking a big loss. All those things just put traders on tilt.
Mm-hmm.
That's why now, when I do hit my target, which today is $600 in my Lucid account, I'm just not trading, because if
Right.
any of those, I might be leaving money on the table. If any of those events happen, I know myself. I know I can easily try to get it back when I already have it.
Right. Yeah, and one thing we talked about in the past was the nice lucid emails that you get that give you your P&L. And I think you enjoy seeing a green one and kind of getting that fist pump and know you're um, working towards your goal, which is just don't blow up my account. And so you're well on your way up $600. I mean, that's 20% of your target in one day. I think that's well above what you should be targeting. So great that you're able to walk away and compartmentalize that and just close that account, if you will, for the day. Um, I think Tradeovate is still working on being able to actually lock yourself out of the account. They have options for you to like set a profit target and it'll close trades and lock you out, but you can go into the settings and change it right now. But I think they're going to be stealing a playbook from Project X where when you lock it out, like you can't unlock it until the contract reopens in the evening. So nice way to help traders, with their, own emotional drives to keep trading things when you feel like you're being successful. But that's great to hear. And yeah, I don't think it's ideal for anyone to have an account for 12 months and an evaluation, but I think at $15, it doesn't get any cheaper than that. And really, you could argue it's your paper trading account and it costs you $180 a year to manage. But at the same time, it gives you that feeling like I'm in a trade for real, while not exposing yourself to real downside when you're talking about other evaluations that are much more expensive.
Exactly. Like right now, I see a long building in the S&P, and I'm taking it, and I'm so convicted on it because we're kind of forming a resistance level. I'm so convicted that I did two minis, but it's in my Tradeify account. I'm just
Uh-huh.
leaving my profit sitting in my Lucid account. And if I miss out on a few $100s here, God bless. It'll be there tomorrow. There'll always be another trade. But I have this other account I can trade with, and so far I'm up 500 in the trade on two minis, and
Nice.
we seem to still be going up. And I would take it with this Lucid account right now. I think we're going to keep going up here. Um, but also, if I'm wrong, I'm going to revenge trade, and
Yeah.
so I'm just trading my Tradeify.
Now, just one thing I don't know about your growth account, you should be able to actually pass potentially in a day with Tradeify, so you're fine there. Otherwise, some require you only make 50% of your profit, so those are things you need to consider if you're having a successful trade. It's a good point for us to remind you guys we're here for entertainment purposes only. We are not giving financial advice. We're not financial advisors, and we will talk about individual stocks. We'll talk about anything related to the markets, but we are not giving you advice or telling you what to do. And at that moment, I want to bring up Google. There's been a bit of a flash crash in Google. Google back under 300. Mikey, are you looking to add to any of your Google positions this morning?
Um, I am. I mean, I just made a major purchase yesterday in stock, so I don't have a lot of funds right now for Google, but if it stays at this level by the time I'm ready to add again, I absolutely will. Um, I think Google in 10 years is $100 trillion stock. And even if I'm wrong and it goes up to like, let's say 10 trillion, I think I'm still good. But, I was just in Silicon Valley yesterday and you see the Waymos all over the place. What you don't see is Teslas or Rivian taxis or anything like that. I'm still, I watch all my content on YouTube and YouTube TV. I'm using Gemini Nano Banana for all my images. I just created my brother-in-law holding like a world record walleye yesterday. So it's I use Google every day, and as you know, the products you use daily and the products that you believe in, those typically make good investments. Google's still sitting on a mountain of cash. I don't understand this drop, but I'll buy it.
Yeah, I think that was very anecdotal, and I think you've got a lot of strong thesis there. And I would have to say, honestly, I agree with you. I think our generation will be extremely successful picking the Mag 7 stocks that they like and just sitting in them until they're at the retirement age.
Yeah.
I think over the next 20 years, there will be books written about people of our generation, and all they did was buy the big stocks. Because if we know anything about corporate America, we know that the big dogs will continue to cannibalize the smaller companies, take advantage of their cash piles, and allow other smaller companies to innovate. And as soon as it becomes something, then they can just go ahead and acquire them for billions of dollars and take over all that technology. So I completely agree. We see Amazon continue to dominate, becoming now slightly just behind Walmart. However, how many times have you gone into the Amazon store and you drive past a Walmart all the time? So, it's just
Yep.
interesting. I completely agree. I mean, I know for me, like, I still have a really big position in Apple, and there's a few products that they don't have that I think will create a super cycle, and a super cycle referring to the idea of upgrading all your products. So a lot of people still don't give Apple credit for potentially having some of the best chips in the world. I think they're right there with NVIDIA. They're the first to have your GPU and your CPU on the same board. Usually that was two separate companies, so it'd be two different chips. And they're continuing to innovate there. But I think more importantly for Apple is they could have a ring, but I don't know if they want to have their watch market cannibalized. But a ring that can pick up all the sensors. I think it'll continue to be integrated in healthcare. You'll get discounts for your healthcare if you wear certain health monitoring products. And more importantly, I think it's really crazy that you have a company like Samsung in the marketplace, and they have a phone that opens into a bifold phone, and you have Huawei in China that has a trifold phone, and Apple is still just one face. And so I think we're going to have a super cycle when they drop that phone, because people will upgrade. Most people already today use their phone for consuming content, not just for making phone calls. And so a bigger screen makes sense. And it sounds like they're really close now. I heard a conflicting report that it might not come until 2027. I am expecting the phone to come actually next fall. And I think if you can get ahead of that, I think Apple's going to, right? If you have like an iPhone 12 to 17 right now, except for the newest one, the 17, they all look pretty much the same. There's no real driver for people to upgrade. But I think once that idea of like a perfect bifold phone that will encourage everyone to go through an upgrade cycle. And maybe everyone doesn't go for it right away. Maybe it takes 6 to 12 months for some people to get additional discounts or what have you. But um, that's just a product that I think goes back to this idea that these Meg 7 stocks, there's really nothing stopping them. And you can always just look out and say, well, what's the next big invention? Is it AI? Is it quantum? Why wouldn't a company like Google be at the forefront of that? Why wouldn't these Meg 7 stocks, go and buy the Anthropic or, partner with the Chat GPT OpenAI? So, yeah, I'm with you there. I'm a NASDAQ trader, so I find that to be helpful when I'm watching all of these Meg 7 stocks. We had some interesting news this morning, if you guys weren't aware. Netflix went on a pop just due to the news that Warner Brothers told Paramount to go pound sand with their hostile takeover offer. Um, Obviously, that will continue to create headlines as Paramount's come out and reaffirm their $30 offer, and that they're kind of saying to shareholders, why wouldn't you take more money uh, versus Netflix offer of 82 billion. So we'll see how that plays out. Obviously this market moves on headlines. We have the biggest headline tomorrow morning. I'm looking forward to it. I've been waiting 2 months for a CPI print. It's one of my favorite days of the month. Uh, the volatility during that print is amazing, and I can take some, for me, just having been a full time futures trader since 2023, I know with these prop firms, one of the strategies I have is if I have failure in an account, I kind of leave it sit and I wait for some of these volatile moments to try to save the account. And just to give you guys a super valuable insight, the biggest company in the world right now being Nvidia, maybe not based on their stock price this morning, but their earnings call, if you have an account, a prop firm that doesn't let you trade news, here's a secret: trade Nvidia earnings, because it wouldn't be considered news, and they drop at, I believe, 20 minutes after the hour of the close perfectly. So that you can kind of treat it like a news event. And so you can potentially save accounts that don't allow you news trade. A great one is, for example, I don't work with them, is Take Profit Trader. Um, I have a pretty strong bias that I will not work with firms that pay an 80-20 split. A lot of firms offer a 100% split for your first $10,000, $15,000, and most of them will offer 90-10. And your goal is to get multiple payouts. And so if a company is giving you all this attractive offer, but they're paying you 80-20, once success starts to build, you notice that 10% adds up very quickly as soon as one payout. So just something to kind of be aware of. We share that information on comparePropFunds.com. We're continuously updating based on the most recent promotions, and we have some exciting things that are happening at that company here soon. But always check it out, get the latest and greatest offers, work with the best companies that we vet, and we vet them by, they don't make our website unless we've had a payout with them. If we haven't experienced their payout process, we cannot recommend them. So I am working with some new firms that we're close to a payout, and I'm really excited about because their pricing's fantastic right now. But why would we recommend a company that could be fly by night? There's a company like Fast Track Trading that stole everyone's money, including my own. And we don't want that to happen to you guys, where they're offering these really low instant funding fees and they can't support it. Another one was Profit Trader, the same thing. They got inundated with people buying the max amount of accounts, and then some people were wildly successful and they lasted less than a year. So it has happened in this industry. It's just like buying a meme coin to some degree. It's a wish in one hand, shit in another. So we're here to help you guys navigate that without having to spend time on that, so you can focus on trading and focus on what helps you make money. So one last thing we want you guys to do is work with a firm that's not going to pay you out.
Yeah, that's a great point. Man, would that be hard pill to swallow if you put in all the work to finally get to a payout. and then they just crush your soul.
Yeah, and for
Take your
me with fast track trading, I got a payout from them, but that was like right at the beginning when they still were not just buying Babe Ruth baseball baseballs and autographed baseballs and Ferraris and just basically laundering the money out of the company. We want to work with reputable CEOs and companies that want to reinvest in the business and not just make $1 million and run. But we are continuing to see liquidation across the board. I'm seeing us hit some targets as far back as November. So we're
wow.
definitely giving up some volume here. We are well below. One thing that we should talk about is contract rollover, Mike. So
Yeah.
at the end of this week, the December contract expires. The liquidity is almost already gone from that contract. So just for people to fully understand why the market does this is futures were originally created for commodities. And so at a set date, you would exchange. So if you were a corn producer and you wanted to lock in that price per bushel that you could sell at, the contract expiration date would be the date you made that exchange. And so that's why futures all have dates on them, is because there are people that are hedging their commodities. Now, in an index future, technically you could exchange at that price, but there's really never a reason to do so. It's probably more of a reason not to do so. So, what people will do is the week before that expiration, everyone will start trading the next contract forward. So now we've moved from the Z December 2025 contract to the H March 2026 contract and all the volumes there. And what happens is these contracts that are future dated, each date that is further out in time has a higher value because they have to account for the time to expiration, right? If you were buying a contract today and one that expires in March, with the market generally having a long bias, there needs to be a discrepancy in the price. So we had that. Most people start switching on Friday, Monday, and then Tuesday's pretty much the last day, you can even argue. Today, you should absolutely be trading March contracts in ES and NASDAQ. In different commodities like gold, those contracts can expire at different times, or wheat, or whatever. Pork belly is a common one that people like to refer to after the great movie Trading Spaces. Trading Places, not
Trading
Spaces.
places. Yep.
Trading Spaces was, I think, was that Dave Chappelle skit, or was that a TLC show? I can't remember, but
I don't know. It might have been an old John Candy movie too. I don't know.
okay, yeah. I mean, maybe I'm thinking of Wife Swap. That was a
Uh,
classic. Um, but we are getting a little bounce here. I know you said, we're not far from where you were kind of starting to build a long position. Hopefully, you took some profits there. Um, One thing I can note is I'm watching Amazon, and it's just not giving up. I think Amazon's down a bit from previous days levels, but really doing a good job with all of this downward movement in NASDAQ. It's one of the few that has not actually given up much of its pop from overnight news that it was going to be spending billions of dollars with OpenAI.
yeah, and just back to what you said about the Mag Sevens, I completely agree. I think when we were kids, there was a real possibility that your big companies were going to fail to be successful. I mean, uh, a common thing people point to is Yahoo had the opportunity to buy Google for a very affordable price and declined. That's no longer happening. When there's a competitor or someone that could eat into a market share, a company like Meta is just going to buy them,
Yeah.
as they did with some of the, uh,
With
Instagram, for
YouTube.
instance,
Yeah, Instagram.
YouTube, for instance. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, I agree with you. Our generation likes to buy the Mag Sevens and hold, and it makes a lot of sense. I think recently Meta started buying Google chips. I mean, they all have a hand in everyone else's business for the most part. So, um, You can't go wrong with Mag 7s. You can diversify. I'm not doing a ton of that. I have mostly just Google, but yeah, you can't go wrong with Mag 7s. I don't think Tesla's the forward PE is a bit concerning there for me to invest in Tesla, but I know a lot of people in my generation who do.
Yeah, one of the, if not the last time I ever took advice from someone else was somebody shaking me out of my Tesla position, uh, 5, 6 years ago. Um, and boy, was that a terrible recommendation. So I think what I'm trying to speak to is when you say you are, focused and allocated into Google, it's because you have conviction for the thesis in there, and that's what allows you to not worry about price fluctuations. And if anything, when you see the price go down, you see it as a buying opportunity. I think that goes back to Warren Buffett, who always said, if you went to your favorite clothing store and everything was half off, you'd be elated. But a lot of people will see a stock and it's half, it's down 50% and they're freaking out, when realistically the strong investor maintains that conviction and they double down in that situation if it's a long-term play. And you need conviction. So I think that's something for new traders to understand, is if it's an investment, you want to invest in companies you have conviction for, because the market will always try to shake you out. The market will always do random things that make you kind of panic and allow your emotions to become part of the trade. And the less you allow that to actually happen, the better you're going to be. And we all want to look like Warren Buffett's at the end of our investing careers. So good advice there. So we're continuing to just kind of drop. I'm getting really intrigued by this Apple drop. I'm not really sure why Apple's falling apart. Let me check one of my news sources. Um, I have I right now, I think one thing that we can kind of talk to is, what new traders versus seasoned traders use to create their thesis for getting long and going short. I think newer traders, unfortunately, have less capital to allocate towards trading, and in doing so, kind of have less resources to use. But there's still a ton of great resources out there, and one of them for free is Thinkorswim. Um, there's the Bloomberg terminal, but I don't think anyone has 25 grand they want to put towards the ultimate trading platform in their first year of trading. And really, it's kind of overkill unless you're working for a hedge fund. Um, but Thinkorswim will give you a free charting product, and it will also provide a lot of news for you so you can understand why stocks are moving. Another thing I use that's free is Financial Juice. I like them for providing kind of real time updates. Sometimes their feed is delayed on the free level, but sometimes it's not. They won't really tell you. You just kind of need to monitor it. But if it's delayed 10 seconds, I think a lot of traders can live with that. And again, save money. Um, I'm using a new product called the Godel Terminal, and it's only like $60 a month, but it's almost equivalent from a news source as the Bloomberg Terminal. So if you're breaking down Bloomberg Terminal at 2 grand a month, $60 a month seems a lot more ideal. And it's where I use for just pure news. And then I additionally, instead of using Thinkorswim for maybe my charting, I use TradingView because of the number of programmers out there that have offered free indicators and strategies, but also it's kind of becoming the gold standard, and they have their own script language, and some of the AIs already understand it. And so I recommend, during Black Friday, they just had a sale and you could have gotten their premium product for less than $20 a month. And that's what you're seeing on my screen. And it's a good piece of software. But as a new trader, right, keep your costs low, and then look for creating profits and taking those in profits and improving your setup. But also at the same time, just to finish this thought, don't overload yourself. I think, me from speaking from personal experience, sometimes I like start having success and it's like, what can I layer on to my trading to help me become a better trader? I can add this indicator or that. And realistically, keeping it simple, the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid, is really a great idea because you can kind of overload yourself and give yourself reasons to, oh, I can get in a trade because this is happening, or I can go short because this is happening. And you start to kind of just develop too many avenues for setups and avenues for reasons to trade. And less is more. Like you said in your Lucid Flex account this morning, only making a few trades in there and then shutting it down for the day. That's what you're looking to do. That's how you compound success in trading.
Yeah, I think I could have gotten in trouble with it because I've lost money in my Tradeify. I did just hit this bounce here, but overall I'm down money and I'm over trading.
Right.
Um, almost just like having fun with it instead of trading it serious, which is what I've done with this Tradeify account from the beginning. So yeah, my Lucid account's just sitting there, and I've held my profit, and boy, it feels good. Feels good to have a green day. I know I'll sleep well at night with a green day, and
Mm-hmm.
won't be
Absolutely.
thinking about all the profit I left on the table. It's a dumb way
Yeah.
to think.
And you're looking forward to a green email from Lucid saying, "Good job, pat you on the back." And at the end of the day, they don't they don't have evaluations that require you to pass in one day, and so you shouldn't think about having to pass and capitalize on every trading opportunity within one funded account every day.
Yeah, and this is my eighth day of trading the Lucid account, but I am treating it like it's a funded account, which I think is important. I know you say a lot of times that how you behave during the eval phase is how you'll behave during the funded phase. If you just pass in, a couple of days, and you try to take that same strategy into the funded account, you have a really good chance of blowing it. Um,
Yeah, yeah, and I'm speaking from tracking all my evaluations. I track how many days I hold it, how many days I hold the equivalent funded account, and unequivocally, any account that I pass, let's say off of a CPI print, I wouldn't get those accounts to um, a payout, but accounts that I took, evaluations that I took, the 10 to 15 days on average, right? In an average trading month, you have 20 to 22 trading days. That's about how long they give you an evaluation before recharging you. A lot of firms also don't charge anymore. You kind of go, but regardless of the fact, if you take it nice and slow in the evaluation, you'll continue that practice and you'll have a higher likelihood of getting to a payout. Absolutely. Um, and so I think we are kind of forming a base here. Obviously, we haven't actually hit that base, but I'm seeing some nice strength in meta in the last like 10 minutes. Um, things kind of seem to be bottoming, and I'm just seeing tails on longer time frames, and uh, we're kind of back to where you were saying you were getting long earlier in this stream. So I would agree. What I've said and I've told you before, Mike, is during the day before a CPI print, things can kind of be choppy. So, I wouldn't be surprised if we go back towards the open, which I have marked out on the charts, and then we kind of come back down, or we go above the open and then go back down. Like chop is to be expected ahead of a CPI print because a lot of traders are waiting for that print to trade. Also, we are getting into the second half of December now, and things will continue to get slower. Now, they can still be solid trading days, but if you're thinking about trying to trade the couple hours on Christmas, I think you're out of your mind because what can happen is you'll have like one or two bad trades and there isn't the real opportunity to get it back and you'll just spiral. So I always recommend on holidays. So I believe Christmas is on a Thursday. I would recommend after Wednesday to not trade Thursday or Friday. Enjoy the weekend, enjoy the holidays with your family and friends. And if you don't have any family and friends, come back and watch our videos, and we'll keep you company. So.
Listen, I'll say this: if you're trading on Christmas, you're a degenerate for any reason. Just
Yeah,
yeah, go fishing, go ice fishing if you live someplace cold. Get out, see family, have some hot cocoa, sleep in, just stay
yeah.
away.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I just saw an article that from Ruger's that the market they are trying to mimic how Bitcoin's traded on a 24-hour basis. I mean, we're trading 23 hours a day, but I think the market will go to a 24-hour model. And I can honestly say that's not necessarily ideal for full time traders because now news can drop at any time and the moves will happen at different times of the day where, the most stocks are only traded between the New York session. And so all the volatility is kind of stuck in there. So something to keep yourself aware of, Bitcoin has shown that traders will trade 24 hours a day. And so if we look at the way the evolution of the stock market's gone, it only makes sense that they want to make more money by being open, right? If you're a store that can be open 24 hours a day, why wouldn't you be? And so it's coming. Just be prepared and understand there's going to be more trading opportunities, but there'll be moments where you have to be a wise trader and not stress out that you miss a move because what we talked about earlier, what you said, I can make that tomorrow. The market will be open tomorrow. Um, even COVID couldn't slow down the market. The entire world stopped, but the stock market kept trading. So, it's not going anywhere. Don't don't trade the holidays. Don't stress if you think you need to make every opportunity something. The best traders have the ability to turn off the screens, walk away, and call it a day or call it a weekend early. So pulling
Yep,
back.
and I'm long here. I've
Okay.
seen a good entry point, kind of where we stopped free falling last time. So long in my Tradeify account, not at the low of the day, but a little bit ahead of that. I don't think we're going to test the low of the day again. I think we're going to bounce right back here, seeing a little resistance. So I'm in 3 minis on my 100K Tradeify account, kind of a big bet, but
Well, I think we might be
um,
going a little lower here, but good luck to you.
oh, you do? Okay. Well, I'm probably screwed then, but
No, I mean,
not not my main account, so I
yeah.
will still sleep well tonight, even if I blow this $15 account, and it'll be here next month.
Yeah, and I think just, I would have rather heard you're just doing one mini and trying to, if you're trying to call a bottom, right, you should consider downsizing because you're trying to capture a bigger move. And right now, this is a falling knife, so, a good chance you get your hands cut versus getting it cut on, at three minis. That's 60. No, I'm sorry, that's $150 a point if you're trading ES. So it won't take but, you know, 10, 15 points to close that account out. So be careful here. I don't see, I mentioned earlier I saw some strength, but market's giving it all back. I'm sitting on my hands. I'm watching Lipokine, new. I have no idea what this company is. It's up 22% in the last 10 minutes here. I'll see if I can find some news. Um, it says near full enrollment in a phase three PPD trial. So, and that news was yesterday. Let me go to my other news source. But, I like to kind of follow all parts of the market, and it helps me keep my hand off the mouse to buy something.
Oh
Of
man, it
course,
looked like I was getting my bounce, and then it sunk back down. I'm down about 500 on the trade so far.
that's not
It
too
hasn't
bad.
hit my No, it hasn't hit my stop loss either. So I'm just gonna let it work. Yeah, it doesn't know what it wants to do. So looks like it's getting resistance at about the level I thought it would, and we get a little bounce here. Let's hope we get some momentum and don't blow $15 today.
That's only a cup of coffee or two.
Yeah. I mean, as the dollar continues to get weakened, yeah, it's about one cup of coffee, as you said. One of the reasons why I opened a small position in Newmont, world's largest mining company, headquartered in Denver, Colorado, precious metal mining. So, not a bad idea to hedge. Even though I put all my eggs in the Google basket, not a bad idea to do a little precious metals too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking at gold, and gold's back up to 4,357 right now. So, um, I know a lot of people are trading gold a lot more often right now because it's just absolutely been on a tear. And I know somebody who trades gold with a very unique strategy. Um, by the gold future contract options are some of the most active. And so what they're doing is if they're going long gold, they're immediately selling an upside call to get closed out because gold has kind of been fluctuating in the 4,000 to 4,400 range. And so, it still maintains a major strong bias. I do think it has a lot to do with the devaluation of currency as we continue to devalue the US dollar. I know if we could get Ray Dalio on here, one of the richest people in the world, he would tell you that, the US economy is headed to a zero. So, to some degree, I would argue that there's still a long way away from that because the US dollar is the, reserve currency, but it isn't certainly getting any stronger, and it continues to be devalued.
Yeah, I mean that's the cost of the thing, right? You can't go uh, 37, 38 trillion dollars in debt and not have consequences with that. You can't just send money to all these other countries and just print it, you know. Yeah, I don't remember them collecting tax money to send money to Argentina or anyone else.
No, I
So,
don't
I
think
mean
they're
that
set. I think they're or no, Venezuela. Yeah, you're right. Sending money to Argentina and robbing Venezuela.
exactly, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, that's the cost of the thing. Was that economist that said there's no such thing as a free lunch? If everyone gets a check for $2,000, which they're hinting, yeah, it'll be, well, not everyone, but it'll be nice for the people that get it. But you're going to pay for that $2,000. When a gallon of milk's, $10 and it costs, $300 a month for car insurance, there's a cost to the thing. So, but
Yeah,
enough economics. Nobody tunes in here to hear doom and gloom economics from us.
I am looking at a long here, guys. I finally got my first indication that we could have hit the bottom there, so I'm watching it. But this is a little early, but I do like it here. Stop at 25,000. Wait, what is the stop? My stop is 25,017 in NQ getting long. Um, I'm looking for about a 40-point move up here, kind of to where we've been basing. So just looking at, if we're looking at it, maybe 6820 in ES. And if I was to get an NQ target for you guys, that is not NQ. I'm looking for kind of a target at the 120 level. So maybe almost a 100-point move. Might be getting stopped out here pretty quickly. But bigger trade here trying to call the bottom on this move. Has not stopped me out. Very, very close. Stop is 25,017 and a quarter to be exact. I might move it down a point or two to give it a little breathing room, but just a quick little in-out trade. If need be, I'll take the L and try again because I'm. This is a good explanation. Is when you're having a big target, it's okay to have a few entries, right? If you have a tight stop and a big target, you can afford one or two, maybe even three stabs at the trade because you are strong that if it goes, it's going to go pretty high here. And if you get stopped out, um, you can try again and see if the setup comes back. It looks really close. I moved it down to 15 or 17, bouncing perfectly at 17 and a quarter. Yeah. Quick little flush 15 out flat. So I will continue to monitor here. The market does not want to give it up yet and climb back to the upside. If I look at our sectors, one of the things that I like to look at is the 11 sectors of the S&P 500, and you've got infotech down almost 2% from the open, along with utilities and industrials down about 1%, financials flat, consumer discretionary and communications down a little, healthcare, staples, energy, and materials flat or up a bit. And the only thing that is up over 0.5% from the open is real estate, but it's giving it up as well. So going to continue to watch, but I think we are getting close to the bottom of the day. And we obviously could continue just to kind of trend like we are lower, but for me, I've got some indications that this could kind of be the end of the road.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing too. It's having a real tough time getting to the bottom of the day. I took a little profit on my 3 mini trade and then jumped back in when you did and just hit my stop as well. So I'm back on board already with a 3 mini long,
Okay.
and it's working. Looks like we're heading back up. Still staying away from trading my Lucid account, no matter how much conviction I get. I'm taking the money and running there.
Absolutely. That's smart. You might have to change your name. You keep making smart moves like that from Noob.
We'll see, my friend. Let's pass this eval first.
Let's get you to the payout, right?
Yeah, once I get to the payout, then maybe we can talk. Um, getting to a payout just seems so, like, even now just seems so foreign, because every time I have passed an eval and funded an account, I go back to my old habits. I can't kick them. This time feels different though, because the old Noob would have definitely blown that account, that Lucid account. I went down 1,300 in one day and then shut the laptop and slowly clawed my way back. That's the kind of discipline I would like to have on a funded account, when I get to that point. I haven't shown that in the past, but we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great to have some discipline like that. Okay, there's a nice pop.
Oh yeah, this is a nice pop. I'm up 700 now with my 3 mini trade, moving my take profit up. I think we're going to keep climbing here.
Now I know you normally trade 1 mini, but when you trade three, do you consider peeling one or two off and allowing your runner or booking profit, or do you just try to keep it all in one block still?
Um, I'll set, like for instance, right now I have my take profit is 2, and I have uh one take profit on the way up. So I will take a little profit on the way up and drop one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I will lock in some profit here. It's about $1,000 trade so far, so that's going to make up for my losses on the day in this account, and give me a little bit of profit in this account, up to 1,200 now as it keeps climbing. Do I regret not trading my Lucid? No, because I've already locked in profit on the day, and I probably won't trade Lucid for the CPI. Um, it's too
Yeah,
volatile, but
I
I'll
would
take.
I would recommend that. I would say if anything, just freely trade your Tradeify account and understand that, you know, especially for the print itself. I mean, I wouldn't say you couldn't trade it when you're trading it during normal hours, but what's been working for you doesn't involve trading a news event. And so don't add that to the mix.
Yeah, I'll trade FOMC because I kind of know what I'm getting into. It kind of behaves the same way every time. I don't know if that makes sense, but the kind of like the FOMC has these like large ups and downs, whereas the CPI print can just go one direction and just run, and you think it's gonna correct, and it's volatile. So even if you pick correctly, you could get stopped out, and those are the type of things that a new trader can just blow the whole account trying to chase.
Yeah, FOMC has retracements back to the mean. So it has extremes, whether up or down, but it tends to always retrace those moves. And so if you wait for one of the extremes and try to play it back to the range it's been in, you got a very high likelihood that it occurs. I think you'll get a pop off of the initial print because the algorithms are adjusting. and then everyone kind of sells that off or buys it up back to where price was beforehand. Nice pop here in gold. Not sure what's going on in gold, but we're getting some buying in gold. Um, and the market is kind of holding here. I'm starting to get a setup, might be 2 or 3 minutes away from a nice trade here, but we'll see how this continues to go. I took one stab at it and it didn't work out, so I want a little bit more conviction on this one. And if I'm going to be right, I'd like to increase my likelihood of being right, and even if that means missing the absolute bottom perfect entry. That's how I want to look at it.
So I just wicked one of my take profits, so I'm down to two minis, but that was a nice little just on that one mini. I think I just took 500, and I've got two more going now in the green. So
Yeah, you might
um,
want to let those work here. Maybe move to break even and try to catch that perfect trade.
dude, if I move to break, it better not come back down to break even. That was like 12 points ago. Um,
Nice.
yeah, so yeah, this is looks like I'm gonna be green today. Hope I don't jinx myself and the market just falls apart here, but looks like I'm gonna be green in both accounts today.
Awesome.
Which is nice because at one point in time my Tradeify account was down 1,000.
Mm.
So see, I talked too much and it started to come down a bit, so I need to just shut up.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, this is kind of that level. I'm getting some more indication that there's some buying going down, going on down here. And let's see. You don't want to rush. You don't need to rush it because we're already down a good chunk and then some. So no reason to rush it. Let me go ahead and trading. Let's turn our buy sell buttons off.
Should I trade my Lucid account?
If you want to, have bad habits, yeah, I absolutely think get in there and start messing around with it.
Uh,
Let them FOMO seep into your veins and try to chase. Nothing like having a great trade and then like trying to compile it and then it all blows up in your face. That's always a great feeling. Nobody ever went on tilt after that happened.
yeah, exactly. So what happened to you yesterday, Jared? You had a trade that you had a lot of conviction on and ended up taking profit, and then it just kept going to the upside and left a little meat on the bones.
Just to say a little bit, yeah. I mean, I think as somebody who's watched Nasdaq futures um, time and time again, it's almost like you can call it a movie, right? Like you've seen this price action before, and I had a very strong conviction that the market was trying to portray it was selling off, but it was gonna take everything back. So much like if it was today, like there was a conviction I had that we'd move back towards the open or move back towards the high of the day. And I think one of the hardest things traders don't really understand is, you know, when you're in a trade and it's like the trade immediately works against you. Mentally, you start eating at yourself, and you're like, "Hey, this isn't going to work out. This isn't going to work out." And then all of a sudden, you get back to like whole, and you're like, "Oh, I could get out for not losing any money now because you've been thinking about losing money the whole trade."
Yeah,
And for new traders and even me, like if a trade immediately starts working, I can ride it. But
of course.
when a trade's negative, as soon as I get up and kind of get to a target at a level of profit that I'm happy with, I jumped out. So I was long SPX options, and I would trade um, Nasdaq, but there's just not enough liquidity in it. But basically, there was a pattern that was occurring throughout the day that I've seen before. I kind of call it like my three peaks, where it's just like we go up a little bit, we retrace it, come up a little bit more, retrace it. And I was pretty convicted in it. So I was down, let's say, 30-40% in the position. And what I don't want people to do is trade zero DTE. It's about as wild west as you can get, and a lot of people would argue that's why the market is so volatile nowadays. Is because of the introduction of zero DTE. But I
Yep.
was long the 6780 calls, zero DTE. I was averaged at about 743, and the low was like $3.50, so almost a 50% haircut, and it took off. I got out for a profit at like 810, I believe, if I look at it, and immediately the price continued to 16. I would have had an easy double, and if I had held it to my full target, a $10,000 investment would have been worth about $50,000. So to say I left meat on the bone by taking $1,000 profit and leaving the other 40,000 on the table, I think what it reminds me is if I'm going to get in a trade and I'm going to have a target, I at least need to have that target set. I should have had, zero DTE really, like, you have to be willing to lose your entire investment, honestly. And that's why, a $10,000
Absolutely.
investment can 5X is because, like, if you're wrong, you're really wrong. But if you're right, you can be very right. And so really, if you want to trade shorter dated options, I would say trade one DTE or 2 days to expiration. The fluctuation's a little bit lower. Take longer dated ones if you're brand new to it. Um, but regardless of the fact, that is definitely much more of a gamble. But it was just something I had seen. It was like, for me, one of the movies I could quote is Happy Gilmore. I could literally read that script verbatim. I've seen it so many times. And so
Great movie.
great movie, absolutely. And when you're a trader, you do see things that reoccur because we are humans. Like, we repeat things, and the algos repeat things, and so there are certain things. That's why there's been a million books written on patterns, is because these patterns show up time and time again. But I think what you should do is, you know, understand that you can't wake up every morning and everything's going to be the same, but you can wake up and be like, hey, out of 200 trading days or 250 trading days, 252 trading days, hey, there's likely that some things are going to repeat. And so for me, yeah, I think the hardest thing for me was to not look at zero DTE options this morning and be like, how do I set up the exact same trade and get a piece of it back? I have to understand that I can't go into the day expecting to trade the same products. Um, for me this morning, I had a small trade on Google, trading this Friday's expiration. I expected to bounce once price was getting towards 300. There should be a natural bounce there when you're selling off to a round number. Nice little trade, didn't have huge size on it, but completely different. I didn't look at Google once yesterday, but anytime I see kind of a panic sell or really big candles, I want to potentially fade that move a bit. But now I'm not looking at Google at all. It's under 300. I'm not in any rush to build a position in it because the market's weak overall. And we have a really big news driver tomorrow. I mean, we could have a 150-point move in ES tomorrow and a 800-point move in NQs. The market's going to kind of feed off of this CPI print into our January FOMC rate announcement as we get closer to May and the changing of the guard for the FOMC chair. Now, Powell can still stay on board, which he very well may. He may also, enjoy the fruits of writing a book and making money that way, or going to work for hedge funds. Anyone that works for a Fed chair, you can go out into the financial industry and pretty much get any job you want because
Yeah, you had it right the first time.
yeah, that too.
Uh, God bless America. Well,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to call it at 9 o'clock here. I step away and work the regular job, watch the kid, and all that fun stuff. But yeah, it's been a good day. If even if I do blow this Tradeify account, which I'm not, I'm slightly down at this moment in time. But even if that were to happen, it's been a great day. Um, uh, because I was disciplined and I took profit in my Lucid account and didn't keep trading it. Once I did 3 trades in my Lucid account, and two were winners and one was a BE. That's fine. That's a good day. So we're good with that. And then I've done 52 minis in my Tradeify account. It's a bit of the gambles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at getting long here for one more trade, guys. I've got one more signal that this could kind of be the bottom. We'll see. I'm going to short size here because I'm trading a bigger chunk. And I really don't want to risk that much, but we're looking at getting long here. Kind of like this level, I'm getting long.
Well, F it. I'm getting long too. 3 minis. If you're going to walk on water, you might as well dance. We're going to do 3 minis here again. And, potentially blow the account. Also potentially make some money today. Let's see. Oof. Not looking good.
No,
Maybe I should have
we'll
gradually came into the 3 minis. Start at 1.
Almost stopped out here, guys. I'm
gonna
at
raise my
992. Go ahead.
I'm gonna raise my take profit up to a point where, there we go. Come on, baby. I'm gonna raise my take profit levels up to a point where I'm gonna make a couple thousand a day, or I'll lose not the account, but lose quite a bit if I'm wrong. So we'll see. I'm in it too. We haven't hit the bottom of the day yet. It looks like it doesn't want to go much lower. Of course, I've been wrong before. And
stopped out. Damn, that was a tough loss. I was almost even on this account, and now I'm down 1,000. I'm gonna have to close that account for the day.
Yep, CPI's tomorrow. Remember, there's always another trade.
Yeah. Yeah, the market just does not want to find a bottom here, so I don't know why I'm stabbing at the bottom.
Well, I am shutting it down. If it keeps going up, God bless. I've got my stop loss and my take profits set in there. But I've closed all my accounts down. Shut the laptops for a day. Probably end up, I know where I'll end up in my Lucid Flex. That'll be a $600 winner. Have no idea. Tradeify is either going to be a $2,000 winner or an account loss. So we'll see.
Well, hopefully we can come back tomorrow. I'm not sure what your availability is, but I'll be up bright and early trading CPI, and hopefully we can come back and provide some more value to everyone. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. Thanks for watching. And, I always say keep it classy and let your trades do the talking.